You talk so much about, or we asked you a lot about Shador not getting any reps with the starting units. So that was like really his first legitimate snaps and reps with the starting offense, correct?
Yes.
Do you think that there was any maybe kind of rust or?
Yeah, I understand the question. I would tell you we do so much work with the quarterback position and the entire team, not just those reps on a practice field. And those are, as we all know, those are tough reps for when you have a young starter as well. But there's so much that we do to supplement that type of thing.
It also seemed like, especially when Sheduer got there. I mean, I think the entire game they showed a lot of cover zero and dropped out, and it seemed like Sheduer kind of struggled with that in tone as well. Do you think that as a staff, you guys could have done anything better?
I always think we can do better, always.
It finally happened. Shador Sanders finally got to play in the regular season for the Cleveland Browns in today's game against the Baltimore Ravens. And we will get into this matchup with Dillon Gabriel and the same with Shador Sanders. But the clip that you just heard was Kevin Stefanski confirming, yes, this is the first time that Shador Sanders has gotten first-team reps with Cleveland. If we go back to the offseason here, the quarterback room was wild. You had Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and they brought in Tyler Huntley, for a preseason game. And he finished out that preseason game. They kicked that field goal. They won that matchup. And then they released Tyler Huntley. Joe Flacco obviously got first-team reps. Dillon Gabriel got first-team reps. The same with Kenny Pickett until he went down with a hamstring injury. But Shador Sanders never did. Now you moved on from Kenny Pickett. You traded him to the Raiders. Dillon still got first-team reps while Joe Flacco was on this roster. You couldn't do the same with Shador Sanders. You placed him into a tough situation. And I'm not trying to make excuses here. I'm just telling you guys what has actually happened with Kevin Stefanski being the head coach. He's won Coach of the Year twice. He's better than this. I know that the entire organization, they love Dillon Gabriel. They hope that he could possibly be their quarterback long term. But you can at least give some first-team reps to Shador Sanders with Joe Flacco being out of the equation. When Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback before they traded him to the Bengals, Dillon Gabriel was still getting first-team reps. Since they've traded Joe Flacco, Kevin Stefanski has come out and he's confirmed that Shador Sanders is not getting first-team reps. He wants Dillon Gabriel to take all the first-team reps so he can get better with the players around him. Why not split those reps with him and Shador Sanders? This is a player that has gotten opportunity after opportunity. And I get it. 3rd-round pick versus 5th-round pick. It just doesn't make sense, especially with Shador Sanders now being your backup quarterback. Joe Flacco isn't here to be your backup quarterback anymore. It is not going to hurt to give Shador Sanders some first-team reps at that point in time. And this is why it's important to give those players those reps. Because Shador Sanders had some okay moments, but he had more bad moments than good moments in this game against the Ravens. And the biggest reason to why the Cleveland Browns and their offense looks this way, the reason why they have little to no talent on the offensive end, at the offensive line, at the wide receiving position, is the Deshaun Watson trade and that contract. The Cleveland Browns gave up a bunch of draft capital to bring him in from the Houston Texans. And you gave him a massive contract before he put a jersey on. This is a player that served a 12-game suspension his first year in Cleveland. Has suffered numerous injuries. That's the worst trade in NFL history. I don't place it on Kevin Stefanski. I don't place it on Andrew Berry. I place it on Jimmy Haslam. He came out 3 months ago. He said that he took a huge swing and it was a huge miss. And he apologized for it. So the Cleveland Browns, they're still paying that contract right now. They can't go out there and bring in top free agents to help out this offense. When you trade those first-round picks and that second-round pick, you cannot get some of the best players from college with those top picks that went to the Houston Texans. So now you put extra stress on Andrew Berry to look around in the mid-round to bring in some offensive linemen, to bring in some wide receivers, and it hasn't worked out for Cleveland. That's why they've made trades over the last couple of years at the wide receiving position. and which is a dumb move that I don't agree with, is when Andrew Berry traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Look at how bad he looked with the Cleveland Browns to begin this season. He was late on reads. He had little to no time inside the pocket. He did have a solid game against the Green Bay Packers. They're a very inconsistent team. But he looked old. He looked slow. He goes over to the Bengals. He has Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. It's like he's found a fountain of youth. Now, he did slow down in today's matchup against the Steelers, but he has looked a hell of a lot better with the Bengals than he looked with the Browns. Dylan Gabriel here, that first game against the Minnesota Vikings, he looked solid. He played within the system. He played within structure. He got the football out quick. He worked underneath. You could say he's dinking and dunking his way down the field. He doesn't have a choice but to. They don't have a deep threat on this team. Yes, you have Isaiah Bond, but Isaiah Bond was dealing with an off-the-field issue, was dealing with allegations. He could have easily been a top 3 pick coming out of Texas. He could have went in the first, second, or third round, but it didn't work out that way. He's an undrafted free agent. He wasn't able to go out there and fully work out in the offseason with this team either. So your best wide receiver is Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry Jeudy was a solid wide receiver last year, had some good moments with Jameis Winston. This season, not as much. He's more so of a number 2 wide receiver. He still deals with a lot of drops. You have David Njoku. But that game against the Minnesota Vikings, they had that matchup won. Dylan Gabriel, game managing quarterback. That's what he is. And that's okay. Works off of play action, works off the run game. We have Quinshon Judkins working. But this was the problem here. Kevin Stefanski said, damn that game plan. I want him to throw us into a win. And it didn't work out that way. And you lost that matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. But he was 19-33 against Minnesota, 190 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Got it done. The next week against the Steelers, he had 52 pass attempts. Kevin Stefanski has lost his damn mind, and he was still calling plays at this point in time before he gave the play calling duties up to Tommy Rees. Now, this is the second time that he's done this. He's called offensive plays before. Then he puts his hands up. I'm done. I'm giving it to someone else. This is his offense. He's an offensive head coach, former offensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings. But Dylan Gabriel was 29 of 52 against the Steelers, 221 passing yards. He got sacked 6 times, 0 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You guys can go back and watch this game for yourself. He easily had 6 passes that should have went for interceptions against the Steelers, but they didn't. And this is why I have to be careful box score watching. Numbers don't tell the entire story. You can say numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the entire story here. He was terrible in this game against the Steelers. The offensive line was as well. But Dylan Gabriel was underthrowing, and he was throwing wide receivers and tight ends into coverage. You can't do that at this level. You have to protect yourself and your teammates. Against the Patriots, it was worse. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The throw power was terrible. He was 21 of 35, 156 passing yards. Against the Miami Dolphins in a win, they won this matchup 31-6. The defense balled out. Dylan Gabriel, he didn't win them the game. He didn't lose them the game. 13-18, 116 passing yards, dinking and dunking his way down the field. Against the Jets, he played solid. 17-32, 167 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They lost this matchup 27-20. This loss is not on Dylan Gabriel. Sure, he missed some passes. He threw some guys into coverage. He played a little bit better in this matchup than he did against the Patriots and against the Steelers. Your special teams unit lost you this game. And in today's game, against the Baltimore Ravens, 7-10, 68 passing yards. He played through the defense. He played through the run game. He's a system quarterback. That's what he was at Oregon. He's one of those quarterbacks that could be a solid backup. That's it. He's not going to be your long-term starter. And when they moved on from Joe Flacco, they wanted a quarterback with mobility that could move around and help out this offensive line and help break down defenses on the back end. Dylan Gabriel doesn't have elite athleticism. Shador Sanders doesn't either. But the accuracy was supposed to take Dylan Gabriel to the next level. It just hasn't. So when I say this, I have seen him play every single snap for the Cleveland Browns. I think that it will be smart for the Cleveland Browns, see what they have in Shador Sanders. You give him first team reps this week. You give him all the first team reps the way that you did with Dillon Gabriel, and you see what you have with him. And I've said this in the past. I'm going to say it again because I can see some of the comments now. Shador Sanders, he was 4-16. He lost in the game. That's not the case here. The offense is not going to be significantly better with Shador Sanders, but you're putting him out there to see what you have. If he looks better than Dillon Gabriel, he goes out there, he has some moments, okay, you have something to work with. If he doesn't, move on from him. He's a 5th-round pick. Move on from Dillon Gabriel. He's a 3rd-round pick. More than likely, if Kevin Stefanski is the head coach next season, and he shouldn't be, they should move on from him after this season. You could bring in the quarterback of your liking. If Kevin Stefanski is the head coach, Dillon Gabriel will be the backup quarterback. They'll either draft someone like Ty Simpson, quarterback from Alabama, Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana, or Moore, the quarterback from Oregon. Those are the top quarterbacks right now at the college level. But at the end of the day, they need to address the wide receiving position and, most importantly, the offensive line. So let's get into this game against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, you may think to yourself, okay, halftime here. They may have benched Dillon Gabriel. They put in Shador Sanders. Not quite. Dillon Gabriel went down with a concussion in this game against the Ravens. He was placed into concussion protocol. He's not able to come back into the matchup, and I hope that he is okay. Concussions are nothing to play with. No injury is, but especially with concussions. And he took a nasty hit. So they put in Shador Sanders. First pass, completion. Okay? The fan base, they're chanting. They're riled up. They're up 10-16, 16-10. The Cleveland Browns fans, they're happy. They've been waiting to see Shador Sanders since the preseason. They're happy to see him back on the field. They're going crazy right now. And this defense with the Browns, they're dominating the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. But he throws an interception, deals with a lot of pressure in his face. This is the one thing with Shador Sanders. You can't throw that type of pass with that pressure in front of you. He had the right idea, but he let the pressure get to him. It sailed on him and went for an interception. And a lot of people are going to bring up this interception here. The next play, the Cleveland Browns got the ball back from Lamar Jackson. He threw an interception as well. So even though that's a bad look on Shador Sanders, the Browns got it right back. The problem with Sheduer is this. He doesn't have elite athleticism, but he can move outside the pocket. He can hit a spin move. He spun away from pressure, but he's still holding on to the football. So now you have other defenders that come in from different angles. They're starting to hit you. They're putting more pressure on you. And this is why it's important to give a guy first team reps or even just second team reps a ton. Same in the preseason. You let him play a lot so he knows what to deal with. He has to throw the football away. At Colorado, he struggled with this. That's why he was one of the most sacked players at the collegiate level. He has to know the clock in the NFL is way faster than college. I have to get this football out quick. If I evade a sack or two, no one's open, throw the football away. Dillon Gabriel has excelled in that. That's where Shador Sanders needs to be better. Since your wide receivers can't get open vertically, you have to throw them open. Shador Sanders had a nice throw in the red zone. Drops it straight into the bucket. Here comes the defensive player, gets his hand in the chest of the wide receiver, goes for an incompletion. But you have to come down with the ball if you are the wide receiver, even though that is a tough catch. Another situation here. He escapes pressure. Once again, a great play by Shador Sanders. He overthrows a wide receiver in the back of the red zone. Has to clean that up. It wasn't just 100% terrible with Shador Sanders. When you look at the context here, this is a player. No first team reps in the offseason. All those reps went to other players. Hasn't gotten to play much. Has been dealt a bad hand with a bad team and a bad organization. He's fighting an uphill battle. He really is. And this is why I said a couple weeks ago, if you are a Shador Sanders fan, you should not want to see him on the field with this Browns team. You should not want to see him be on the field with this organization. 4 weeks ago, I said the best situation for Shador Sanders, you keep your ears back, you continue to work, you build some good relationships around the NFL, maybe the Browns select the quarterback in this year's draft class and they trade you elsewhere. Because no quarterback right now is going to have success with this current roster. Lamar Jackson wouldn't, Josh Allen wouldn't, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't either. And that's not because Dylan Gabriel is a terrible quarterback and the same with Shador Sanders. It's just the facts here. Jimmy Haslam screwed this team. He screwed his own team. He screwed his general manager. He screwed his head coach. The problem that I have with Kevin Stefanski, you have mismanaged this quarterback situation all the way around. And for you to be this offensive head coach, you can't figure your offense out. Yes, you had a playoff appearance with Baker Mayfield. They won a playoff game. Now, a lot of Browns fans, they'll say, well, he didn't coach that playoff game. He was out dealing with the pandemic issue. I give him that playoff win. You guys don't have to. But they had a winning season that year with Kevin Stefanski. We go back a couple of seasons ago. Deshaun Watson goes down. DTR was a terrible option to have. He calls in Joe Flacco off his couch. Can you come in? Can you help me? They made the NFL playoffs. Both your tackles are down. Your safety play isn't the same because your starting safety in Grant Delpit, he's out as well. Your star running back in Nick Chubb, he went down with a knee injury early in the year against the Steelers. You still make the playoffs. You got blasted by the Houston Texans. But for him to be this great offensive mind, he continues to give up that play calling sheet because his offense isn't working. The personnel is not there. I don't think that Kevin Stefanski is a terrible head coach, but right now it's not working with Cleveland. And you have a lot of Browns fans. Look at what happened in this matchup. Social media is different from real life. They wanted to see Shador Sanders play. Those fans can be harsh. And they're being harsh right now towards Kevin Stefanski. They're sick and they're tired of losing. So he needs to figure something out. If Dylan Gabriel is concussed, Shador Sanders is going to be your starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. So go all in with him. See what you have with him. But even in certain press conferences, one thing that I've noticed, he won't even say Shador Sanders' name. He'll say Kenny Pickett. He'll say Joe Flacco. He'll say Dylan Gabriel. He'll say Tyler Huntley. He completely doesn't want to say Shador Sanders. And I know the media, they hyped him up. They say he was the best quarterback in this year's draft class. Get it. He's Deion Sanders' son. A lot of people, they dislike him because he's Deion's son. It is what it is. He's in the league now. But if Kevin Stefanski wants to get the most out of this situation, you have to go all in on Shador Sanders dealing with these circumstances until Dylan Gabriel is fully healthy. But in today's game, he didn't play great. It wasn't a terrible outing for Shador Sanders either, considering the circumstances here. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about Shador Sanders and his debut with the Cleveland Browns? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.